Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Friday morning trading session. Oh, just a reminder for those of you who are not in North America, this is a holiday long weekend in the U.S., President's Day. There will be no trading room on Monday. Okay, so we just had the opening bell, and yeah, like Phil says, yippee! For those of you who are new to the room this morning, just a real quick overview. This is the diversified trading system, and I have my Hawk Scalper here in the top left, Falcon Swing Trader top right, Eagle Trend Trader bottom left, and the Raptor on the bottom right. The charts you're looking at here are the NASDAQ. I'm also following the YM, that's the mini Dow, and crude oil on my other monitor. But if there is something you would like to see, just let me know and I will be happy to pull it up for you. So you can see here in the overnight, the market has been sticking with sorry, that was yesterday's session. Overnight was pretty quiet. Nothing going on in the overnight last night. But we do seem to be holding to something resembling an uptrend. For the moment anyway. Our Hawk a little bit sideways. We did get a couple scalp signals out of the open, or out of the London Open. And now we are working on producing a first micro-macro cross signal. When this one printed here, our macro trend line was still out of sync. So even though that might work out, that wasn't really a signal for us. Not yet. Oh, now we're working on our first micro-macro cross. I don't know if we are going to see much movement today. Today might be a repeat of yesterday. At the moment, we're going a little bit sideways here. The Raptor gives us a pretty good look at the current range. What almost had me going is this little bit here does look like a bull flag, doesn't it? Where we kind of get that sideways channel formation and then we get the breakout. I might jump on that yet. I'm still debating it. Let's take a look at the YM, which, we had a trend change signal here on the Falcon just prior to the opening bell. So if I shoot a trend line across these lows, where is it going to go? It goes right there. that same area where we've been looking. All right, here on the Raptor, we've got an interesting little setup where we've got essentially a second push entry signal. So we see the buyers becoming a little bit more aggressive with this little swing point through here. I'm just putting a onesie on it. I'm trying not to get too excited about it just yet, but I will park an order there. And you could do similar things with the Falcon trade, which signaled the trend change signal that hasn't tripped, but it's the same kind of idea where we're a little bit range bound here, but if the buyers are going to make a push, they need to get over this high, right? They need to get over that point right there. This is actually a trade you could cover below the low, and it looks like I could even dial down the risk amount on it. And just for the heck of it, why don't we make this an all-runner trade today? So a couple of opportunities, similar signals here too in the Eagle. We tripped off of a hard edge bounce, bouncing off of the ATR and getting an opportunity for a second push on this entry. So a lot of things in our favor here. Once again, if this market is going to go higher, we do need to see the buyers get above that current high. And here too, it's a situation where it's still early. We do have an opportunity maybe to dial down the risk amount a little bit, just in case the sellers still decide to beat up on us. So regardless of your tool, it does look like we have a couple of chances there. Working on our Dow also, working on a buy signal here on our Eagle. This one not in sync yet with the ATR, but it's looking like that ATR line's a little bit further away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, see, I got to give up a lot of ticks to take advantage of that one. I might opt here instead to take the entry on the hash mark and just try to cover the trade a little bit deeper. Now on the Hawk, even here in the NQ, we are working on a 4-arrow consolidation signal. You could still treat this as the first micro-macro cross and take the signal above the high. Okay, how's that? Sorry about that. For whatever reason, the system chose to lock up on me. Okay, here in the Falcon now, we're getting a little bit of a swing. This is actually an opportunity for us to add to a position. If you ever thought about scaling into a trade, this would be a good spot to do it. And I might even choose to hold my stop back there just until we get through this swing. Then once I engage the second order, I'll become much more aggressive with my stop. The Dow now giving us a green bar sell. And the green bar sell is one of these signals that you can trade either way, right? We can either trade the failure or we can trade the signal itself. In this instance, I'm going to trade the failure. I'm going to set up to trade it if it actually breaks out higher. And here too, actually what I should do, it looks like they're just about to bring me in. If I'm quick, I can dial down the risk here a little bit because it is early. There we go. Dustin is asking, do you know why my data feed is connected but my charts aren't moving? Good question, Dustin. Couple of things to check. Make sure that the markets you're following are the correct month. I'm sure they are, but sometimes if you have the wrong month, of course the month will have expired and you won't be seeing any trades. Make sure sometimes if this is checked, global simulation mode, sometimes that makes strange things happen. Short of that, I'm afraid you're going to have to shoot an email to Ben at support@indicatorwarehouse.com or talk to your broker or data provider. Yeah, sorry I can't be more helpful sometimes with those types of things. I know my way around the software well enough, but sometimes these little extra things, I'm going to hold that stop back just a moment too, just to stay under that low. Because we're getting this reaction now from the sellers, I would anticipate the buyers showing up soon. I hope. We did just kind of dip our toe in the water here. Dow once again being a little stronger than the NQ. That's not too terribly unusual, but well, it is and it isn't. My original stop was here. I'm just restraining my stop strategy for the moment, looking for the buyers to come back here. They should be showing up. There was obviously some buying effort to get us through these highs, and there's still some buying going on in the Dow. So I just did not want to get stopped out prematurely. Hopefully we'll see a little bit of a rally out of here, and that will give me a little bit more confidence to engage the stops once again. Once I know the buyers are actively buying, then I can start rolling my stop up. All right, so oops. Okay, we hit our first profit target in our YM trade on the Hawk. A little move higher here off of the failure of the green bar sell. Now they're challenging their highs right up here. Okay, things not looking very good for the NQ right now. Mo says the YM was a buy around 179.68, and that's pretty much where we got involved. The Eagle gave us our signal, 179.70. Well, we're getting a little bit of conflicting information here. Our Eagle obviously looking bullish. Trade forecaster says we should be in trend mode for the better part of an hour, which I hope so. Hopefully that will minimize any pullbacks and such. Compare that here with what's going on in the NQ, where we're full out scalp mode right now, and that would explain a lot. We're just trying to hang in. Bigger swings, just trying to hang on to this trade. And this might be as deep as I'm going to let this market move against me. So buyers, you know, they bought over here. They bought again over here. A little bit of buying here. I would expect some sort of buying to occur before we hit our stops. And if the buyers can't recover the trend from here, well, then I'm definitely on the wrong side of this trade, and probably time to take an early exit. You see this wick on this bar here? That's showing some buying effort, but the sellers just keep coming back, knocking us down. Mo is asking about gold. Sure, let's get a gold chart up here. While we wait for gold to load. All right, so here's gold on our hawk. Nice macro pullback here. Gold is one of these markets that you can follow any time of the day or night. It really is a global market, and you tend to get some fairly reliable signals out of it. Here was a red bar buy, which I honestly would not have taken. But here is the first micro-macro cross that had good follow-through, really good follow-through as a matter of fact. Here's a first micro-macro cross going lower that had a nice progression. First micro-macro cross and macro pullback. And now gold is working on another macro pullback to the upside. See, what would that cost? Oh, it's actually fairly reasonable. So there's a possible gold trade for you. And let's take a look at gold on the Falcon. A little choppier. Notice our filter, our trend line breaking up a little bit more. Did get a trend change signal higher here, getting an awful lot of double dots on the Falcon. And these double dots, this is our counter trend signal. And you can always, if you can tie these back into other resistance points, that lends a little bit more confidence to the signal. So I wouldn't necessarily start selling gold from here, but it does look as though it might be getting a little bit weaker, at least according to the Falcon. Nice trend change signal here in the Asian session. If you are in a time zone where you're watching the Asian markets or looking for a market that you can trade in that time zone, gold is definitely one to keep an eye on. It tends to make some very nice moves during the Asian sessions. And you can see here was another one. And again, it's not going to be faster or as fast as the North American sessions. So you actually get some time to look at the signal, see it coming. See, this is how it would have developed. You'd actually have some time here to figure out what's going on. You could say, yeah, okay, well, we're getting a bounce off of these lows. At the very least, it will probably test the highs here. It is a trend change signal. And over the course of the next couple hours, you finally get a chance to trade that. Here is the eagle now on gold. Yesterday, a little choppier, and notice the daybreak line. This is about as far as I want these daybreak lines to be apart. If on my eagle the lines start getting any closer than this, I may dial down the brick size from 12 to 10 just to loosen up the market a little bit. But this is acceptable. It is a little bit on the cozy side. See, if they start getting more like this, that's telling me that the brick size is a little bit too high given the ranges that gold is making. And this is much more what it should look like. So nice trend change signal. A lot of sideways action there. This all developed over the space of a few seconds. I'm not entirely sure what caused that to happen. And then it went back into trend mode. And acted normally after that. So right now what we're looking at in gold is not much trend-wise anyways. All right, I did say this was probably the limit. I was going to allow the buyers, if they're not going to recover the trend from here, well then I'm probably going to take my lumps and get out. You have to decide sometime, right? You have to make the market but I do so hate stopping myself out early. I did that the other day. In hindsight, when I looked at the charts at the end of the day, it was, why did I leave my stops where I did? If I had just left my stops back, everything would have been fine. Well, had a little flurry of hope, and now they're turning tail, and they're going to crush us here in a sec. A lot of times Friday's opening range is not that bad a time to trade because traders, especially going into a holiday weekend, you want to get your work done early, right? You want to hit the floor running. You're going to put all your orders on, do your paperwork, go home. I know I would. Yeah, here we go. Oh well. It was an early trade. And we were kind of expecting things to be a touch on the choppy side. They did not disappoint. All right, so they're not wanting to go higher. We are getting a first micro-macro cross here to the downside now. Come on, Hawk. Yeah. Can anybody say choppy session? Okay, I'm going to hold my stop back here at the original placement because it does look like we're working ourselves into a macro pullback signal. Oh, you guys. See, once again, we're getting conflicting signals across the board. We're getting, most of our tools are bullish. Our Eagle, our Raptor, those are both bullish. The Falcon, fairly neutral for the most part. Maybe just ever so slightly bullish because it's above our median line here in our support and resistance assortment. That tends to be a little bit on the bullish side. Working on a possible trend change signal lower, but still very much in this trading range, like so. All right, so there's our trend change signal to the downside. Here's a situation where you could risk it below the low, below this little swing low. It's only a couple of ticks further than the hash mark. It's a judgment call, though. Sometimes logic dictates, well, if they're going to fill me here, they're going to fill me 2 ticks later. So I may as well take the fill on the hash mark. And other times you just want that little extra reassurance to say that, yeah, we do have enough here to push over the buyers. So I'll take it below this larger swing point. I'm going to hold my stop back just a little bit. Once again, lots of support around here. the NQ does seem to be getting a little bit weaker, perhaps. Could be some profit taking. You know, we did have a fairly strong week in the NQ this week. Saw lots of buying going on. Okay, so we hit our first profit target. A lot of times what I'll do when I hit the first profit target is I'll take the trade to break even. Just because I don't want to let the winner turn into a loser. But for today, I'm going to let hold the stop strategy, and I'm going to be a little bit more conservative, and I'm going to see if we can't add to this position. So I'm looking for a place for the market to maybe tick up or at least show me some serious hesitation, and then I'm going to try to add to the trade. Okay, so we've encountered now the hard edge both on our Raptor, and we're bouncing off the hard edge here in the Eagle. And as you know, we normally anticipate some sort of reaction once we hit that hard edge. This bar is looking reactionary enough for me right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up to sell another one right down here. I could have also used my setup tool. And I'll do the same thing here on the Falcon. And of course here on the Eagle you can see where I've shot this trend line. We might see some added buying support as we get closer to this region here. Crude oil spiking again. Up to $53 a barrel now and change. We did have a first micro-macro cross signal with very nice follow through right here. a red bar buy actually that had good follow through. This one would have been interesting to take because we haven't seen a test of the extreme, right? The market came down rather quickly, settled out. You can almost see some trend line-ish support here, but we know that before this market can really move lower, it has to first test the extreme. It has to get up here somehow, test these highs at least a little bit before possibly reversing and heading lower. And you can see we had plenty of room through here to take advantage of a situation like that. So you could have just gone all in, all out, came back with a first micro macro cross signal. So you actually had a couple of opportunities here to take advantage of crude oil. All right, so now they retraced a little bit deeper than I had hoped. And now we're working on a macro pullback signal here in our hawk. Very, very choppy market today. My goodness, they're choppy. And again, we're getting conflicting signals. We're getting sell signals here in the hawk and the falcon, but look, we're coming back with a red bar buy off of a hard edge bounce in the eagle. And we know that's a strong signal for the eagle. So when you encounter days like today, just recognize that trading is going to be difficult today. So what do you do about it? Well, maybe today's the kind of day that we want to run really tight profit targets. Just go in, grab what the market's giving us. We may not see a huge trend like we did yesterday. And even yesterday, while we were trading, this was the North American session while we were watching it right through there. It wasn't until the afternoon session and the evening that the market actually picked up and went somewhere. This was very frustrating trying to trade that. And that's kind of how today is shaping up as well. Now I do have a couple runners in play here, and I am trying to be more conservative with my stops. Oh, look at that. See what happened because oh, sorry. That's my second order. I thought that was my profit target for a moment. Yeah, there they go. Now they're getting stronger again. So here we are now with these conflicting signals. It is a red bar buy off of a hard edge bounce. I will reserve entry to the other side of the ATR line. The Dow and the NQ are also at odds, which is uncharacteristic. Oh, I better cancel this order here. That was my macro pullback signal that I forgot about. Okay, here come the sellers. And scrub that order for now. We are getting warning dots to the downside. Nobody really doing much of anything right now. Just taking a look at what the NQ has been doing here on the Raptor of late. I didn't think that I'd ever seen this on the Raptor before, and I think I'm right. I'll have to check a few other markets, but we had pink bar buy signals here and here, which I didn't think I'd ever seen on the Raptor before. And I can't seem to find one anywhere else, at least not on the NQ. So very odd little formation the way that developed. Okay, technically this is now a first micro-macro cross signal here in the NQ. And they just keep retracing. Now we're working into a macro pullback signal. And now we're into yellow bars, so all bets are off. Now we're getting a green bar sell. No, now we're back into yellow bars. Oh my gosh. Okay, here's our green bar sell again. Now this one, again, looks a little bit more inviting because even though the trend might be changing, we haven't had a real test of the extreme yet, have we? We should expect one more move lower here. And I might be a lot more aggressive on the stop. If we get filled. If it goes lower. Nope. Nope, so they're full-on reversal mode. Our Dow trade here on the Eagle is, we were able to ride out that swing, thank goodness, and it looks like we're about to find our profit objective there. And I almost think that, let's see, my earlier trade, I had my stop down here. Yeah, so even with my deep stop, that very deep retracement would not have allowed me to ride out that swing. Peter is asking, good morning, Eric. The S&R lines are really holding the price of the E-mini on the Falcon. Would you place an OCO order above and below the S&R lines? Sure, absolutely. If, well, this is a bad example. Let's maybe take a look at the Dow. If you find that the prices are really contained by the support and resistance lines, higher and lower, yeah, by all means, throw a buy order in above, a sell order in below. You know that when it breaks outside of this range, it will have a tendency to move two zones. So now that we've broken higher, in theory, we might be able to see the Dow trade up to 180.60. 180.20 I think is a given, but a two-zone breakout should see it get up to around 180.60. So here comes the NQ again with a whole host of conflicting signals. All right, first micro macro cross to the upside on the NQ. We tried it lower, let's try it higher. I'm not too terribly surprised at the lack of direction here in the NQ. We were kind of expecting this today. Crude oil starting to go wishy-washy on us also. See some rather substantial swings. Our filter breaking up here on the Falcon. Just not a pleasant trading day. All right, let's see what's going on here. Oh, sure. Well, you know, I'm horsing around a little bit now. That's one of the perks of being a trading room moderator. I can do stuff like this, but honestly, if we were trading real money this morning, once my Dow trade closed out, here, this Eagle trade, that's it. I would be out of here. The Dow is about the only one that's even performing. And how much do we have here? 130 bucks. Just came within a tick of our profit objective. I have the trade currently to break even. It should find its profit target, but the NQ is just a mess. There is nothing going on here in the NASDAQ today. You know, we tried it higher, we got spanked. We tried it lower, we got spanked. And they were solid signals. You know, they weren't goofball signals. They were solid signals. And as I've mentioned before, if you take a solid signal and the market does not cooperate, at least to get you to your high probability profit target, then you have a pretty good idea that something's not quite right today. In fact, the Raptor might be doing the best job of showing us what this market is not doing today. Just a whole mishmash of signals and bars. Working on a rule of 3 here with our eagle. We have just had the test of the extreme. This little bit through here. So we've signaled once against the hard edge. Here's the second signal against the hard edge. But because we have had the test of the extreme, you don't necessarily need to wait for that third signal to fire. What you could do is you could set up to take an early signal, probably below the lows here. You could also use this current bar as a second push on the entry. The nice thing about this signal is that you have a definite place to cover the trade. And you know what? You could even do one better. You could take it below here. You could cover it above the high. Oop, maybe not. Maybe I have to add a few extra shekels to my trading. There you go. That would be a very decent trade. If we got filled here and we risk it all the way above that swing high, you know, there's a pretty good chance that if we get filled short here, we're not going to trade back above that high. This little intermediate swing high, well, given as choppy as the market has been today, there is a chance we might trade above there. But to take out the big swing high, no, that's pretty safe bet. Now the NQ finally out of scalp mode and into swing mode for about the next hour, according to Trade Forecaster. Thank goodness, because that scalp session that we saw this morning, what a headache that was. All right, speaking of scalping, here comes the hawk again. Working on a first micro macro cross, not quite there yet. Not quite all in sync. Once again, when you look at, if you're trading the hawk and you look at a chart like this and it's all yellow bars, You know, that's not a good sign. That tells you that you have a choppy market. And what's the best way to trade a choppy market? Don't trade it. Yeah, the Raptor should have had a little bit more strength off of this signal right here. It's not that you expect every single signal to work out. Well, yes, I know you do, but it's not that every single signal does work out. Oh, fantastic, Dustin. Dustin says he bagged $400 scalping the NQ. Well done. Not easy on a day like today. Not easy at all. I'll point out this macro pullback signal here on the YM. And once again, we're starting to see the YM breaking up a little bit. Lots of yellow bars through here. And of course, it is contrary. This signal is contrary to what we're seeing in the NQ. So, you know, it might be a situation where you want to just see whether you can turn this into a runner of sorts. Give the market plenty of room to sort itself out. That's almost the way you need to play it, if you're going to try to hang in for anything. Otherwise, just do as Dustin did. Just go in, grab anything you can with a tight profit target. So here's that macro pullback signal in the YM. See if that develops into anything. Okay, folks, excuse me for just a moment. I will be right back. Well, what did I miss? Not a whole lot. I see that we did get filled here on our short in the Eagle. The YM has since fallen flat also. So that first micro-macro cross signal that we were debating has since shifted into yellow bars. So we can cancel that for the time being. You know what, folks? It's turning out to be a very quiet, very lost session, which is not unusual going into a holiday weekend. We might close things up a little bit earlier. Bet you if we looked at the volume, it would be declining as well. You can just tell by the activity of the bars too. They're taking a long time to do anything. We'll give them another 15 or 20 minutes or so, see if things don't shake up. Good time to read your emails. Dustin says he doesn't usually trade them, but the yellow bars have been, yellow bar signals have been fairly productive on the hawk. You know, that kind of makes sense, Dustin, because of the sideways action that we're seeing when the signal finally trips. You know, the price activity and the momentum and the congestion and everything have been such that, yeah, I can see your point that they're triggering off of yellow bars today. And now they're making a run to the upside. So we're very much stuck. Here's the more immediate range. Here's the larger intraday range that we're looking at. Yeah, the NQ just perfectly happy going back and forth, back and forth. All right, here's our eagle. We did take the early rule of 3, as I mentioned. We're coming back now with a red bar buy signal off of the hard edge bounce, which will make a run at these highs here, and hoping to see them turn, come back, give us that rule of 3, which would confirm that the sellers are in control. That's the problem with taking the rule of 3 trade early, which is why I suggested one of the things you could do is enter below this low here, which would have effectively kept us out of this trade, but I opted for the earlier entry because of our deeper stop. All right, well, the NASDAQ made a little bit of a bump here now to the upside as we were anticipating, waiting for the sellers to step up. Kind of like watching grass grow. Good question here from Dustin. Dustin asks, did you guys look at bigger tick bars in testing? I've been looking at 12 and 20 tick bars. The 20 tick bars seem to repaint, but the 12 has looked pretty good so far. Yes, actually we did. We ran kind of the gamut as far as bar sizes go, but there's nothing wrong with experimenting on your own. I know a lot of people like to tweak the brick size, sometimes for the market that they're watching. And yeah, it doesn't surprise me that, especially the way the markets have been behaving of late, if you're having better results with a larger brick size, because what the larger brick does is it tends to filter out some of the noise, some of the static and chop. Well, you guys, it's the top of the hour. I can't really see the market shaping up today. It's very, very flat and sideways. If you are going to stick it out, I don't know, you can probably expect more of the same. If you have any open profit, take it. Even if it's $50, just take it. Walk away. Looks like the NASDAQ's going to try to make a push to the top end of the trading range now, but I would expect the sellers are going to knock them back down. The Dow continues to hold its own and is trying to get a little bit higher. Crude oil, too, has just gone totally sideways on us, trading well within this morning's opening parameters. So I think, why don't we call it an early day? And I hope everybody has a nice weekend. Remember, no trading room on Monday. I will see you again on Tuesday, and hopefully we'll have a little more action.